Welcome to today's episode. We're going to take a quick look at an incredibly raw and reflective story, a journey through memory, trauma, and the tangled threads of teenage love and adulthood. I'm joined today by someone who's lived it. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's always a little surreal to voice out these memories, but sharing might offer a bit of clarity, not just for me, but maybe for anyone listening who's found themselves staring at the flames of their own past.
Let's dive right in. Your narrative begins with this almost cinematic image. Your mother looking up from your journal, advising you to get to the meat of your story. Why does that moment stick out for you?
It's funny. Mums seem to know when you're dodging the truth, even if you're only telling it to yourself in a private journal. For so long, everything felt like a dance around what really mattered. Why I made the decisions I did, what led me to leave a job, or why I kept revolving around certain people like Jacob.
Jacob seems central to your story, almost the gravitational force pulling you through different phases of your life. Could you talk about who he was to you?
Jacob is complicated. He was a high school friend, funny and wild, but he also struggled with his demons, addiction, rumors, family tragedy. He was wrongly accused of terrible things, and I carried a lot of guilt, almost as if I could have intervened, changed the trajectory. But he was also resilience embodied. He survived cancer after being told he only had months left to live. That survival, and the way our lives kept intersecting, shaped my sense of who I am.
You mentioned these rumors that followed him and you. How did that affect your relationship and your sense of self?
Deeply. It's the kind of thing that sticks under your skin, especially as a teenager. The rumor about a school shooting, about him being a killer, none of it was true. But in a small town, perception is reality. It made us both question ourselves. For me, it started a cycle of wanting to save people, and sometimes getting lost in other people's chaos to avoid facing my own.
Interwoven with Jacob is the story of Jesse and that pivotal experience in the basement. Why was that such a defining memory?
That night was messy and intimate, growing out of years of being best friends with Jesse. It was my coming of age, even as the circumstances were far from perfect. But in my mind, those moments created a pressure point, a place I kept coming back to, especially as my adult relationships became complicated by unhealed wounds from the past.
You're strikingly honest about your mental health, schizophrenia, depression, the sense of burning everything down to start again. How has telling your story helped you find healing?
It's been essential. For years, I was consumed by a need for answers, chasing people, ruminating on rumors, reliving heartbreaks. But in telling the story, writing it, voicing it, I realized that healing isn't about untangling every knot. Sometimes it's about sitting with the fire, letting the memories burn and illuminate who you've become, even if it leaves you a little scarred.
It's such a powerful theme, sitting with the fire. If you could speak to your 17-year-old self, what would you want her to know?
I'd want her to know she wasn't alone, that all those wild feelings and confusions were survivable, that being misunderstood doesn't mean you're broken, and sometimes the messier the story, the more human you become.
Wow. Thank you for sharing so openly with us today. It's a story of heartbreak, resilience, and the long, often unfinished work of self-acceptance.
Thank you for listening. I hope these words help someone else feel seen, even if just for a moment.
That's all for today's episode. Thanks for joining us on this journey through memory and meaning. Stay tuned for more conversations that matter.